Yesterday, we went through every single NFC team and their biggest storyline going into the beginning of the 2025 NFL season. And today, we're going to go through every single AFC team. Starting with the Baltimore Ravens, they host the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football, probably one of the biggest games to start week one this year. Without a doubt, the Baltimore Ravens are one of the main favorites for the Super Bowl, or at least to represent the AFC in the game. And so they get to test out their skills against an incredible team and an incredible quarterback. And speaking of incredible quarterbacks, the Ravens have a pretty good one of their own. And I think one of the biggest storylines for the entire league is just how good Lamar Jackson is going to be, coming off of a year where he arguably was the MVP, but he lost it to Josh Allen. So it's going to be a great matchup to start the season off with a bang. And it's going to have pretty big playoff implications, I think, early in the season when we talk about seeding in the first half of the year. Next up is the Cincinnati Bengals. They go on the road to the Cleveland Browns. And this is a game where it needs to be evident that the defense has shown improvement. The defense needs to show that they're able to adapt to their new system under Al Golden. And the guy who needs this to happen more than anything is Zach Taylor. Easily coming off of a year where they were probably one of the more disappointing teams in the league for not making the playoffs. Zach Taylor is on a really hot seat compared to the other playoff contender coaches. And if the Bengals don't get rid of their reputation of being a slow starter, we very early in the season could see a new guy at head coach for Cincinnati. And talking about the other side of the coin, the Cleveland Browns, they have one of the best spots to be in during week one. There's zero expectations, zero requirements, and zero reasons for them to beat the Bengals. And with that being said, this is kind of the Super Bowl in a sense for the Browns. They have a chance to ruin their in-state rival start to the season. And this would just be one of the funniest things to happen in week one if Cleveland were to win this game. Not just because it would continue that streak of slow starts for Cincinnati, but just Cleveland has no business being in this game. Offensively, their talent is much lower than what Cincinnati has. Cleveland, although they have Myles Garrett, it's not like they have a world-beating defense. And so this is a big game for Cincinnati, mostly because if they lose to Cleveland to start the year, it's going to look really bad. Next up is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They go on the road to the New York Jets, and it's a potential revenge game. But what the most important part is in this game is it's game one for Aaron Rodgers in the black and gold. There's no team in the NFL, and this is even before Aaron Rodgers got to Pittsburgh, but the internal expectations like the Steelers always have, whether it's from the fans or from the franchise, the internal expectations are always to win a Super Bowl. And because of the arrival of Aaron Rodgers, the Steelers might have a real chance to actually make some noise this year. Over to the AFC East. Again, on Sunday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills host the Baltimore Ravens. Josh Allen and the Bills, they've been on the brink of getting to a Super Bowl for a while now. But to be honest, if they don't do it this year, at least get to the Super Bowl, there could be some conversations started about how maybe this roster, maybe the coaching staff, maybe members of the front office, how this team is currently constructed might come into question. The Miami Dolphins start on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. Miami, to me, is one of the weirdest teams going into 2025. There's no questioning the talent that this team has, especially offensively. But for some reason, they just did not put it together. In my opinion, this is a team in desperate need of a reset button. But if they do want to compete for a playoff spot again this year, week one is almost a must-win game for them, especially against an Indianapolis team that's in a bit of a state of flux. The New England Patriots host the Las Vegas Raiders. They have a lot of new. A new head coach, although he's not really new. A new wide receiver one, a new defensive identity. And while this could be a really good team, I wouldn't be surprised to see this team lose week one. While Las Vegas is also very new as well, they have absolutely no pressure on them. And as early as it is, there's going to be a lot of pressure, in my opinion, on the New England Patriots to win this game because it's known that they're better than Las Vegas. And again, it's known that this is a new team, newly constructed, but they have a lot of pressure on them. Whether it's self-inflicted or it's from outside noise, the pressure is there for New England. The New York Jets host the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is definitely a revenge game. The only question is, whose revenge is it? Is it the defense's revenge for having 2 really good seasons wasted by an Aaron Rodgers injury? Although saying that kind of sounds wrong. Or is this revenge for Justin Fields against a team that I don't even think he got the chance to get fully acclimated to? Again, I don't know how right or wrong that is about Justin Fields, but I think at the end of the day, these are 2 teams put together where there's a lot of questions, and we could even be left with more questions about both of these teams than we're left with answers after week 1. To the AFC West, the Denver Broncos host the Tennessee Titans. The Broncos get the privilege of hosting Cam Ward for his debut game in his rookie season. The defense has some big additions that look great, but the offense took a major leap forward with their own rookie in Bo Nix last year. And now with the additions of Evan Ingram, Pat Bryant, and RJ Harvey, it is looking like head coach Sean Payton has the exact offense he wants to run wild with. The Kansas City Chiefs go to Brazil to face the LA Chargers. To be honest, the Chiefs could win this game or lose it by 50, and it would change zero thoughts for me about their team. I really don't think the Brazil game last year between Philly and Green Bay was much of a barometer of talent or success for either team. All I'm looking for if I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan is to have a successful game running the ball and keep Patrick Mahomes from being sacked. The Chiefs made big changes to the offensive line, and week 1 will be a big test as to whether or not those changes will actually be paying off this year. As previously mentioned, the Las Vegas Raiders are going to the New England Patriots. And again, as I kind of mentioned, this is like the we revamped ourselves Super Bowl between the Pats and the Raiders. As far as Las Vegas is concerned, I am extremely interested in how Ashton Genty performs in week 1 of his NFL career. We saw him be a very physical runner in the preseason, but week 1 against easily the most talented, best coached defense he's seen in his life, it's going to be a great matchup for him. The LA Chargers, while they're playing technically at home, they're hosting the Chiefs at Brazil. Unfortunately for the Chargers, one of the biggest offseason storylines in the NFL was about their early loss of standout tackle Rashawn Slater. Now, they're able to move Joe Alt back to his natural left side of the offensive line after a short rookie sabbatical at right tackle, and Trey Pipkins slots in as the new right tackle with Mekhi Becton next to him at right guard after being signed in the offseason. I imagine that 2025 is going to be more of the same in terms of trying to rely less on Justin Herbert and more on the running game. And with 2 new guys to tote the rock, this Charger team will need their rushing attack to be towards the top to make their way back to the NFL playoffs. Down to the AFC South, the division champion Houston Texans have a road game against the Los Angeles Rams. And as of today's look at the depth chart for the Houston Texans, the offensive line will feature 4 brand new starters, including Ariante Ursare, their second-round pick in this year's draft. And again, all 4 of those players that are starting and brand new to the starting lineup, they're also brand new to the team. You can also tell that this front office had a bit of a nightmare to end last year in terms of receiver injuries. There's 7 guys at wide receiver that are on the opening day roster, another 5 of which are brand new to the team. Going against LA against an unhealthy quarterback, they need to prove that their defense is one of the best in the league, especially when it comes to getting after the quarterback. The Indianapolis Colts host the Miami Dolphins, and the thing that every Colts fan is going to be watching and thinking about on Sunday is whether or not Daniel Jones was the right choice. And with an ownership transition, I would not be surprised if there is an early season move on from either Shane Steichen or Chris Ballard or others in the front office. If there are major struggles with the offense, especially if Daniel Jones is the reason for those struggles. The Jacksonville Jaguars host the Carolina Panthers in week 1. The biggest question for Jacksonville is, has Liam Cohen fixed Trevor Lawrence? The Jaguars took a major swing trying to get someone to improve the passing game, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, with the Travis Hunter selection and also armed with Brian Thomas, the hope for Cohen is that there are enough players around Lawrence. And to be fair to Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't wish the carousel of terrible situations and terrible coaching choices that have been made. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But now that he has a very proven guy calling the shots with him, the time is now for him to step up and be the best quarterback in this division. Last but not least, the Tennessee Titans. They have a road game against the Denver Broncos. It's Cam Ward debut week. I think this debut is even more exciting than Caleb Williams was last year, or Bryce Young, or many other number one quarterbacks in the past few years because of what we have been hearing about him on the practice field from Tennessee. I think compared to previous years, there's been less notoriety about guys that I mentioned, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young. There's been more talk about Cam Ward in a positive manner than those other guys from previous years. And I think there's already a lot of signs that this team is firmly in Cam Ward's hands. And while they won't be a playoff contender this year, in my opinion, they will go as far as he does. And he could lead them to a lot more wins than people are expecting. That is every single AFC team's biggest storyline going into week 1 of this week. If there's something I missed, I'm sure of it. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.